Hey guys, I'm Deepthi Desikan, and today's video I'm going to be talking about a new launch that I think is going to be exciting for a lot of you guys as well. So today's video is all about this right here. This is the Sugar Rage for Coverage 24-hour foundation. So this is their newest launch that is going to be launching on the day this video is going to go live. So I have these in 4 shades, that is 07 Vanilla Latte, 27 Vienna, 37 Cortado, and 52 Coretto. So this product is launched in 15 different shades, which is again pretty decent, like not the best, but I think there's a lot of room for expansion, and with Sugar they always do come up with newer shades and they do add it to the existing launch. So I think you can expect newer shades to be coming in, but 15 different shades catering for different skin tones. And so this is what the foundation looks like. I have, like I mentioned, 4 different shades, and the packaging this time, actually I expected it to be a glass bottle, but it's not. It's a squeezy tube packaging, which again I really like because I think it is very travel friendly. So it's a complete black packaging with just the text and the logo in white, similar to their other products. So it's just very well coordinated. So anyways, I am going to be swatching all the 4 shades on my face to show you guys which one is the closest match for me. And so I have already prepped my skin, in the sense I have cleansed it. I have used my usual serum and moisturizer, which you guys know, the ones that I always use in every video. So this is how we're going to be going about the review. So on one side of my face, I am going to be applying the Sugar Aquaholic Priming Moisturizer. This is one of my favorite primer from Sugar because I feel like it has a little bit of a thicker consistency like a moisturizer, but it also primes your skin. And I'm going to be using the Sugar Bling Illuminating Moisturizer on one side, and on the other side I'm not going to be applying these products, and going to see how it works with and without. So this way I can tell you guys how it. So then priming my skin with the Aquaholic Priming Moisturizer. I just love the consistency of this primer. It's just beautiful. It just adds like an instant glow to your skin, like a good hydration. I really like this primer. And then topping it off with the Sugar Bling Illuminating Moisturizer in the shade Peach Poppin', just to see if like an extreme dewy base would help, because the foundation is claiming to be full coverage. And keep in mind, every time I apply a foundation, I do go in excessively with a moisturizer before I start any of the steps, so that it keeps that moisture locked into my skin and keeping that hydration in place. So that's the reason my skin still looks a little bit glowy on this side as well. And I am breaking out. So no color correction, let's just get started with the swatches. The first shade I'm going to be swatching is 07 Vanilla Latte. This I think would be a little bit too light for me. Of course, with the shade name itself, I can kind of guess. So swatching it on this side. Also, it looks like it has a little bit like of a peach undertone to it. So keep that in mind if at all you think it is your shade and you're trying to get that. Next up, swatching the shade 27 Vienna, which is again lighter shade for my skin tone, but has a nice golden warm undertone to it. And next up, swatching the shade 32 Cortado, hoping that this should be my shade. Now compared to the shade 27, that is Vienna, you can see that 32 is a little bit darker and very warm. And the last shade that I have is 52 Coretto. This is the darkest shade that I have. So again, letting you guys know, this is 07, this is 27, this is 32, and this is 52. Now going in with the foundation itself. So on one side, the side that I have all of these additional steps, I'm going to be using a brush, and on this side I'm going to be using a sponge. So taking the shade 32 Cortado, taking a little bit because this is claiming to be a full coverage foundation, I am going to take less first and then see. The consistency of this foundation is such that it is a little bit thick. So on this side I'm going to be using the sponge. This is the Mars Cosmetics sponge. I don't know, something is very different with the undertone. It is a little bit like yellow warm, and I feel like it's not blending very well with a sponge. So On this side, taking my Cuffs and Lashes F014 brush. Is one of my favorite brushes. You've seen me use this in so many different videos. I feel like this would do the job. Yeah, look at that. This entire face, I applied it with that one squeeze of the product that I took out. So I'm definitely going to be building it up just a little bit. But the consistency of this foundation is like super thick, you guys. And it gives you, like, with that first initial squeeze, it gives you like a good medium coverage. So now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking just a little bit more of the same shade, that is Cortado 32. Adding coverage just to the places I require, not everywhere else. So around my mouth, because I'm not going to be using a concealer here. Just on my cheek a little bit, like here, where there's a little bit of pigmentation. So this time I'm using a brush for my entire face because I just didn't really like how this foundation blends with a sponge. So this is what the foundation looks like once it's completely blended, and this is the coverage that I could get. Again, the coverage, I would call it to be above medium coverage, but I wouldn't call it to be the most full coverage foundation. You can get it up there, you can get it to a full coverage look, but my skin is normal skin type and I feel like it would just look a little bit too cakey and it would start clinging onto my skin. So I'm going to keep it at this, and so I'm going to finish off the rest of my makeup, probably underneath my eyes, a little bit of concealer and everything, and show you guys like my final look after I have used some of their products itself. So yeah, this is like my eye makeup done. It took a while, I should tell you guys, like more than half an hour. I estimated like a half an hour's time to do this eye makeup, but the lashes were giving me a hard time. So anyways, moving on, I will be doing like my blush, bronzer, highlight from the Sugar palette. So applying the blush, and then applying the bronzer. With that being done for highlight, I'm going to be taking the Sugar Face Forward highlighter stick in the shade Bronze Bellwether. So yeah, this is what the foundation looks like right now on my skin. So I will give it some time and I will get back to you guys. It is around 120, so I will give it some wear time and come back to you guys with my final thoughts as to how it wears, if it oxidizes and everything, and then we'll get back to the video. So the time right now is 4:55, so that gives this foundation a good 3.5 hours of wear time, and I pretty much just ate and slept. There's nothing much to do in Bangalore. We are currently in a lockdown and there's not much that I can do. Like I mentioned, because I slept, if you guys are wondering if it did transfer onto my pillow and everything, it did transfer a teeny tiny bit, but not to a great extent, and it didn't take off the foundation from my face. So if you are wondering if it's completely mask proof, I don't think it is. But you can also set this foundation with a slight amount of powder to avoid it from moving around and transferring onto other things. So that is something you can keep in mind, but I didn't do that because you guys know I have normal to dry skin and I don't really like to set any foundation for that matter. So when I first initially applied it, I felt like this foundation was sort of like caking up and clinging on to dry patches. So that's the reason I immediately didn't tell you guys anything, and I gave it some time to rest on my skin, because that is what you should do with makeup. Like, it takes time to blend into your skin, like the natural oils and the sweat and everything just blends the makeup a little bit better and makes it look a little bit better, and that is the case with most makeup products. So after a while, it's not looking as clingy and cakey, or it's not clumping up, and I can see that it looks really smooth and has a soft blurring effect, just like the foundation claims. It looks pretty good, but it is kind of exaggerating the smile lines on my face, which I didn't expect this foundation to do, because there are foundations that settle onto the lines of my face, and that means that it also emphasizes the lines on my forehead, which happens to me with so many other foundations, like even some really good dewy foundations like the LA Girl foundation, that happens. So because this did that, I expected it to do that to my forehead as well, but my forehead lines are not exaggerated, as you guys can see. So if you have any kind of texture on your face, or like dryness in general, this will exaggerate it. So keep that in mind. And I think this foundation is just generally catered towards people with combination oily skin and oily skin type. With that being said, it doesn't have like that powdery matte kind of finish on your skin. It has like a nice creamy smooth finish on your skin, and that's exactly what the foundation claims as well. It says right here that this is a sebum absorbing extended wear foundation with long lasting soft focus effect, gives a perfectly blurred unified appearance. Its creamy texture has cover and conceal properties to hide imperfections for flawless, non-cakey and smooth looking skin. So it has definitely that creamy texture, and it is kind of thick in consistency as well. Because it is kind of thick and pigmented, I would recommend getting your exact shade match. And if you especially want it to look good and photograph really well, because it's a pigmented thick consistency foundation, any kind of shade difference, it would be really prominent, and that would in turn result to white cast and everything. Also, it did oxidize a teeny tiny bit on my skin, and oxidation is very subjective, but it did oxidize on my skin as well. So this foundation, it reminds me so much of the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation in terms of the way it looks on the skin, but I feel like this is a little bit more creamier than that, and it doesn't look powdery cakey matte on the skin. So it's like a soft matte finish, which is very wearable even for people with oily skin. Just because you have oily skin doesn't mean you have to wear like super matte drying foundations. That's what I'm getting at. So it has a really good wear time, and I think it would last really well on your skin, especially even if you're living in like humid climates, you have very oily skin and you tend to sweat a lot on your face. I think this would last really well, because right now where I'm filming, it's really hot and I don't really have any ventilation right now, and there are lights focusing my face, and it's not letting any kind of like sweat seep through, and it's just like keeping everything in place. And keep in mind that I haven't set my base at all, and it still looks that way. So that is something that we have to give it to this foundation. So this is a really good alternative in my opinion to the L'Oreal Infallible Foundation, especially if you were looking for a cruelty-free option from an Indian brand. And this product is made in China, and this retails for 799 rupees, which is a decent price point in my opinion. And you get 25 ml of product, which usually you get 30 ml in all foundations. You get 25 ml in this, and as the brand recommends, if you want to use it like a pea-sized amount, you would get like a light medium to medium coverage. But if you want it slightly above medium coverage, you have to use a little more than a pea-sized amount. You can use like any kind of powder products on this. It wouldn't like again look really bad. It wouldn't do that. It's irrespective of your skin type. So today's video, I did use powder products, keeping in mind just that I wanted to see if it's just going to make it look all the more like dry or cakey and clingy. It's not doing that. It's just like smooth and nice. So you can use your powder products or your cream products. I would recommend using cream products because it just gives a nice dewy radiant finish. So but you can use both as well, and if you want it to last for a little bit longer, you can set it with a light dusting of loose powder. Do not use too much powder as well, even if you have oily skin, and it should last pretty well on your skin. So yeah, before you buy this foundation, keep this in mind, and let me know what you think about this foundation in the comment section down below. And also let me know what other videos you would like to see, and I'll definitely film that for you guys. And while you're at it, give this video a big thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.